Walk into any electronics store right now, and you'll see dozens of soundbars all promising theater-quality sound. Premium designs, Dolby Atmos badges, wireless subwoofers, and price tags ranging from $100 to $2,000. But here's what nobody tells you. Some of these soundbars score so low in professional testing that you genuinely get better sound from your TV speakers. And others that look identical perform like actual home theater systems. The difference between the worst and best soundbar in 2026 isn't just a little gap. It's a massive canyon that separates total garbage from legitimate game changers. Today, I'm counting down the top 10 soundbars from worst to best, and trust me, some of these rankings will shock you. Hit that subscribe button and drop a like if you want the real truth about soundbars before you waste your money. And tell me in the comments, which soundbar are you using right now, and what problems are you facing with it? Let's get started. Number 10, the Moreto Wooden 2.1 soundbar. Starting at the absolute bottom, we have the Moreto Wooden 2.1 soundbar, and this thing is genuinely terrible. Professional lab testing gave it a 48% overall score, which is catastrophic. To put that in perspective, anything below 60% is considered poor, and this doesn't even crack 50. Music quality scored 40%. Multi-channel audio also hit 40%, meaning whether you're listening to Spotify or watching movies, it sounds equally awful. The highs are tinny and harsh, making cymbals and voices sound like they're coming through a tin can. There's zero immersion, no soundstage width, just flat audio that makes you wonder why you didn't save your money. The wooden aesthetic looks decent in photos, giving it a retro vibe that might appeal to some buyers. But that's the only positive thing about this soundbar. The moment you turn it on, the illusion shatters. Bass is weak and flabby, dialogue gets lost in the mix, and action scenes sound like a jumbled mess of noise without any clarity or separation. For around $150, you might think it's worth the gamble, but it's not. You're better off spending that money on literally anything else. This is a perfect example of manufacturers prioritizing appearance over actual audio engineering, and buyers pay the price. The Moreto Wooden 2.1 is the worst soundbar you can buy in 2026, and it deserves this bottom spot. Number 9. The Sony HTS-2000. Moving up slightly to number 9, we have the Sony HTS-2000, which is disappointing in a different way because it comes from a brand you'd expect to trust. This soundbar retails around $700 and looks sleek and professional. The setup is easy. It's got Dolby Atmos on the box, and the compact design fits nicely under most TVs. But the performance is what Sony describes as only okay, which is a polite way of saying mediocre. Professional testing scored it at 64% overall, with music at 58% and multi-channel audio at 60%. For $700, those scores are unacceptable. The biggest complaint from users is muddy dialogue. Voices lack clarity and get buried under background music and effects, forcing you to constantly adjust volume or turn on captions. News programs and talk shows, where clear speech is critical, sound muffled and indistinct. Seniors buying this for better dialogue clarity end up more frustrated than before. And here's a problem nobody mentions until after purchase: standby energy waste. This soundbar guzzles electricity even when turned off, quietly adding to your utility bill month after month. There's no excuse for that kind of inefficiency in modern electronics. The Sony HTS-2000 looks premium, but performs like a budget model, making it a terrible value at its price point. It earns the number 9 spot because while it's not as offensively bad as the Moreto, it's still a disappointing waste of money. Number 8. Vizio Elevate. At number 8, we have the Vizio Elevate, which tries to bring premium features to a budget price, but stumbles hard on execution. Vizio markets this as an affordable Dolby Atmos solution with rotating drivers that physically tilt upward for height effects. That sounds impressive, and in theory it should work better than virtual Atmos. But the reality is messy. The rotating mechanism is a neat party trick that doesn't translate to consistently good sound. The dialogue gets buried under boomy, unfocused bass and harsh effects. Watching movies becomes frustrating as you strain to hear what characters are saying while explosions and music dominate. The bigger problem is the wired satellite speakers. In 2026, when wireless connectivity should be standard, Vizio still requires you to run cables to your rear speakers. This limits placement options and creates a messy setup that defeats the purpose of a simple soundbar upgrade. The Atmos height effects are unconvincing, rarely creating that overhead immersion you're paying for. And build quality feels cheap, with plastic construction that doesn't inspire confidence. For the price, you'd expect better, but Vizio prioritizes flashy features over fundamental audio performance. It's not as terrible as the bottom two, but it's still a disappointment that earns the number 8 ranking. Number 7. Amazon Fire TV Soundbar Plus. Now we start getting into soundbars that are actually decent, and number 7 brings our first surprise. The Amazon Fire TV Soundbar Plus scores a 7.9 for mixed usage, which is solid, and does it at a price under $400. This is a wireless 5.1 system with a subwoofer and satellite speakers included, giving you true surround sound instead of virtual processing. For the price, that's genuinely impressive value. The sub delivers deep bass that fills rooms. The satellites create a convincing wraparound effect, and dialogue stays clear even in busy scenes. Here's the catch. There are no upward firing drivers. The Dolby Atmos support is purely virtual, meaning it can't create real height effects. But here's why this soundbar still ranks higher than more expensive options. It focuses on doing the basics extremely well instead of faking premium features. The soundstage is wide, separation between channels is clear, and the overall presentation is balanced and enjoyable. For under $400 with wireless surrounds and a sub included, it outperforms soundbars costing twice as much that try to do too much and fail. Amazon nailed the value proposition here, making this a smart choice for budget-conscious buyers who want real surround sound. It's not perfect, but it's honest about what it offers and delivers on those promises. That earns it the number 7 spot. Number 6. Sonos Beam Gen 2. At number 6, we have the Sonos Beam Gen 2, scoring 7.4 for mixed usage, and this little soundbar punches way above its size. It's compact, measuring just over 2 feet wide, making it perfect for smaller TVs or tight spaces. But don't let the size fool you. The soundstage is surprisingly wide, creating a sense of space that makes it feel like audio is coming from beyond the physical bar. Dialogue is crisp and forward in the mix, which is exactly what you need for movies and TV shows. And the Sonos ecosystem integration means you can expand it later with their wireless sub and surround speakers if you want more power. The Atmos support is present, but don't expect convincing overhead effects without additional speakers. The Beam Gen 2 does a respectable job of widening the soundstage, but true height channels require more hardware. Where this soundbar shines is in versatility and future-proofing. It handles music beautifully, making it great for streaming Spotify or Apple Music when you're not watching TV. Voice assistant integration works smoothly, and the app offers solid EQ controls to tune sound to your room. For around $500, you're getting a quality entry point into premium audio that you can grow over time. It's not going to replace a full home theater, but for what it is, the Sonos Beam Gen 2 delivers consistently good performance in a tiny package. That consistency earns it the number 6 ranking. Number 5, LG S90TR. Number 5 is where things get really interesting with the LG S90TR, scoring 8.1 for mixed usage and offering features you'd expect from much pricier models. This is a proper mid-range soundbar priced around $800 that focuses on delivering excellent dialogue and room-corrected sound. LG's AI calibration technology analyzes your room acoustics and automatically adjusts EQ to compensate for your space. If you've got a lot of furniture, weird room shape, or hard surfaces causing reflections, the S90TR adapts to minimize those issues. The result is balanced, natural sound that doesn't require hours of manual tweaking. Dialogue clarity is exceptional, making this an ideal choice for seniors or anyone who struggles to hear voices on TV. The center channel is tuned to keep speech forward and distinct, cutting through background noise without sounding unnatural. Music performance is solid with good separation between instruments and balanced frequency response. The included subwoofer provides adequate bass without overwhelming the room. The limitation is Atmos height effects without satellite speakers. The upward-firing drivers are present, but the vertical dimension feels modest unless you add LG's optional rear surrounds. But here's why this ranks 5th. It excels at the fundamentals: clear dialogue, wide stereo imaging, room-corrected sound, and reliable connectivity at a reasonable price. The LG S90TR is proof that focusing on core performance beats chasing every buzzword feature. It's a smart, well-engineered soundbar that delivers real value. Number 4. Samsung HW-Q930D. At number 4, we have the Samsung HW-Q930D, scoring 8.3 for mixed usage and delivering near-flagship performance at a mid-premium price around $1,300. This is a 9.1.4 system, meaning 9 main channels, 1 subwoofer, and 4 height channels. That's serious hardware creating legitimate surround immersion that rivals much more expensive setups. The soundstage wraps around you convincingly, placing effects in specific locations rather than vaguely around the room. Explosions move across space, helicopters fly overhead with believable height, and ambient sounds create a three-dimensional environment. What's shocking is this soundbar achieves this without dedicated rear speaker boxes. Samsung uses side-firing and upward-firing drivers built into the main bar, plus wireless rear modules to simulate a full surround array. It shouldn't work this well, but it does. The Eclipse audio processing Samsung developed enhances spatial separation and makes the soundstage feel bigger than the physical speakers suggest. Dialogue stays anchored to the center, even when effects are flying everywhere. Bass from the wireless sub is punchy and tight, delivering impact without muddiness. The only reason this isn't ranked higher is it lacks the absolute refinement and extra rear channels of true flagship models. But for the price, the Samsung HW-Q930D is an incredible value, offering 90% of flagship performance at 60% of the cost. That makes it the number 4 pick. Number 3, Bose Smart Ultra. Number 3 goes to the Bose Smart Ultra, which isn't just a soundbar, but a complete smart audio hub. This is the top pick for music lovers who want their soundbar to do double duty for both movies and daily music streaming. Bose's reputation for audio engineering is well earned here, with balanced frequency response that makes everything from classical to hip-hop sound natural and detailed. Dialogue is crystal clear without sounding artificially boosted, and the soundstage has impressive width for a single bar design. The smart integration is where Bose separates itself. Voice assistants work flawlessly, multi-room audio lets you sync with other Bose speakers throughout your home, and the app provides intuitive controls for everything. AirPlay, Chromecast, and Bluetooth all work reliably without dropouts or glitches. For around $900, you're paying for versatility and polish. The Atmos effects are present, but not as dramatic as dedicated multi-speaker systems. Where the Bose Smart Ultra excels is in being an exceptional all-arounder that handles every type of content well. It's refined, reliable, and built to last. That consistent excellence across use cases earns it the number 3 spot. If you want one device that does everything competently without major weaknesses, this is your soundbar. Number 2. Sonos Arc Ultra. At number 2, we have the premium Sonos Arc Ultra, a refined evolution of Sonos' flagship soundbar priced around $1,000. This is an ecosystem play that rewards buyers already invested in Sonos products, but also stands strong on its own. The Arc Ultra features advanced room optimization that uses your phone's microphone to measure acoustics and automatically tunes the soundbar to your space. The processing is sophisticated, compensating for room modes and reflections better than most competitors. The soundstage is impressively wide and tall for a single bar, creating a sense of envelopment that makes movies feel immersive. Atmos height effects are noticeable and add dimension to compatible content, though adding Sonos' sub and surrounds takes it to another level. Build quality is exceptional with premium materials and flawless finish, and reliable, offering detailed EQ controls and seamless integration with streaming services. What holds this back from the number 1 spot is the price-to-performance ratio. You're paying a premium for the Sonos ecosystem and brand refinement. But if you value elegance, reliability, and long-term ecosystem integration, the Arc Ultra delivers. It's a sophisticated choice that combines excellent audio with smart features in a package that looks as good as it sounds. That polish earns it the number 2 ranking. Number 1. Samsung HW-Q990F. And finally, the number 1 soundbar for 2026 is the Samsung HW-Q990F, scoring 8.5 for mixed usage and fundamentally changing what flagship soundbars can do. Priced around $2,000, this is Samsung's top offering, and they redesigned a critical component that makes all the difference: the subwoofer. Previous Samsung flagships used ported subs that could rattle and distort at high volumes. The Q990F uses a sealed subwoofer design that eliminates that rattle while maintaining deep, powerful bass. The low end is tight, controlled, and impactful without overwhelming the room or bleeding into mid-range frequencies. The Eclipsa audio processing Samsung developed creates a soundstage that extends far beyond the physical speakers. Sounds appear to come from locations outside the speaker array, creating genuine immersion that wraps around you. The 11.1.4 channel configuration includes wireless rear speakers with upward-firing drivers, creating true three-dimensional audio where helicopters fly overhead, rain falls from above, and ambient effects surround you completely. Dialogue stays anchored and clear even when effects are chaotic. The Q Symphony feature lets you sync with compatible Samsung TVs to use the TV speakers as additional channels, further expanding the soundstage. What makes this the number 1 pick isn't just raw performance, it's the combination of power, refinement, and innovation. The sealed sub redesign shows Samsung listening to feedback and engineering better solutions. The Eclipsa processing creates spatial audio that rivals dedicated Atmos ceiling speakers. The wireless rear modules integrate seamlessly without connection issues. And despite the complexity, setup is straightforward with automatic calibration handling most of the work. For serious home theater enthusiasts who want the absolute best soundbar system money can buy in 2026, the Samsung HW-Q990F is the undisputed champion. It's expensive, but it delivers flagship performance that justifies the cost. That's why it earns the number 1 spot.